Broadsword calling Danny Boy.
Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. We're going to take a look here at Sol 603. A couple of very interesting things in this image, as you will see in a minute. Another MASTCAM curiosity image. First of all, we're going to take a look at this guy. This is untreated image. This very much looks like a sheep's skull, or maybe a goat, or some kind of antelope. When I highlight it, you'll see it a bit better. There we go. It may be some other sort of creature, but if you look at the shape of the nose and the jaw, the overall shape of the skull, it's very much like a sheep of some sort, or some kind of mountain goat. There's no horns on it. Not all sheep have horns, of course. Some do, some don't. It's about a foot long, maybe a foot and a half long. It's very clear, and all I've done here is use the Gaussian blur on it, bit of contrast, use the clarify, which is basically contrast and brightness up, so you can see what I've done to it. Now I've drawn around the object and highlighted it a bit more for you. You can really see some detail there. Look at the teeth. Look at the teeth on the lower right there, below the nose, and you can even see the lips still on it, which is incredible detail, really. Much like a lot of the other animal specimens I found on Mars, there still seems to be soft fleshy tissue still left on the specimen. This may be a very recent deceased creature, or it may be due to the fact that it's so cold and dry on Mars. It could have been freeze dried hundreds of years ago, even thousands of years ago, who knows. But I'm beginning to wonder whether actually a lot of these things are really recent, i.e. died only a few months ago, or maybe a year ago. Who's to say? The lack of oxygen on Mars may well preserve these things extremely well, like some creatures are in Antarctica. The extreme cold freezes them. Now here we're looking at the background now. I want you to look just above the horizon there, just above the foreground. As I found with many images recently, there's a lot of green appearing in some of these backgrounds. Now that green must be there. I'm not adding the green. All I've done here is up the contrast, and out it pops, as I've said before. That's all you have to do. You can download the image. I've done it another stage further, about another 10%. So it's about 20% darker than it was before, 25%. The green just pops out. You look at the hill in the background. There's a whole patch of green going right across there. Now, when I was looking at this green, something else popped out at me, and there it is on the top left. I've just highlighted it there. It looks very much like some kind of UFO or something. Now, and before we get carried away here, I don't think it's a spaceship. I actually think, when you look a bit closer, now this is the raw image here. When you look a bit closer, it's not a raw image actually, this is enhanced. When you look a bit closer, it looks very much like a bird. You can see a sort of W or M shape to it. There we go, you can see it now. If you look at the darkened part there, it looks like an M, like a letter M. That's a typical bird configuration there. My mother keeps birds. She's one of the world's leading experts on parrots and various varieties of birds, and I've seen quite a few. This is the raw image, right? Now you can't see very much at this level of zoom until you enhance it. I've gone in pretty close there. As always with a lot of these images, if you go in too far, you can't really see anything. It becomes too blurred. You've really got to mess around with the contrast and turn it negative, perhaps, like I've done here. Now, in order to establish whether this is actually a bird or some kind of UFO, you then need to look at the artifacts that appear in other NASA images. Now the problem is, there seems to be quite a few on the MASTCAM now, There's about 5 or 6 artifacts that appear. Here it is in black and white, just to show you it again. There's quite a few artifacts that appear that look like damaged pixels, much like you would get on your computer screen. So I'm just going to point those out for you to establish what we're looking at here. Now here's another image from 603, one of the next images along from that one we just looked at. There's plenty in this set with a good skyline on them which you can have a look at. Right, there's the first image anomaly. Now I'm going to do a little map here for you so you can use this to use as a reference to find out if you're actually looking at a damaged pixel or some kind of UFO on the image. Okay, next one coming up. There's another one near the bottom there, and there's another one coming up in the second right at the bottom. Now the one on the center left is, there are actually 2 in that longer strip there. So basically there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 altogether. So one of them, the one on the left there, is a double one. Now I'm just going to show you each one in turn. I'm not going to spend too long on this because we're not really interested in these so much. This is just to show you what they are and what they look like. These are damaged pixels, probably damaged pixels from what I can work out. When you zoom in, they have all the hallmarks of damage, basically. Now the funny thing is actually is that some of these were appearing right from the start as soon as the thing got there. The one near the center of the image especially has been in every image since word go. These other ones have started appearing more recently. Now you must establish before working out whether you're looking at a UFO or a bird or whatever in the sky, where these are and what they are. So what I'm going to do at the end of the video, I'll put that image map up again for you, and you can copy and paste it, or you can clip it out of the video and just keep it on your desktop as a reference. So whenever you're looking at the sky or any image from the MASTCAM left, you really need to remember where these are, because if you see something that isn't one of these objects and it is a different shape, it's either a V shape or a W shape or an M shape like we have earlier, then you are not looking at an image anomaly. You're not looking at a broken pixel or damaged pixel or anything like that. You're looking at something else. So this is purely to do image verification with. This is to verify that what you are looking at may or may not be an image artifact on the camera or whatever. The fact is, basically, I do think there are the birds on Mars. Here we are. We're going back to the bird again. I mean, this looks like a bird in flight. It's about a mile away from the camera, so it must be quite large for it even to show up. And if you look at some of my older videos and some of my recent videos, I have found bird specimens on the ground, dead birds, some fossilized, some look quite fresh. Some look like they've been there for a few years and have rotted away and been eaten. Basically, some of them are very, very large. I've worked out that 1 or 2 of them, I've even named one, I've called one Ares Maximus, which means Mars giant or giant Mars. And his skull is about 6 or 7 foot long, making his wingspan approximately around 50 feet, assuming it's not a flightless bird. Now, we're just going to have a look at this. Well, I call it a sheep's head anyway. It may not be a sheep, but it looks very much like a sheep's head from Earth. Now, I want to point a few things out. I have been ridiculed in the past for even saying that there are creatures on Mars, or that there were creatures on Mars. A lot of so-called scientists have given me quite a hard time on YouTube about this, and many sort of people have said I'm insane or a lunatic or something. Well, all I can say is take a look yourself. You can download the image in the description as always. You can just follow the link to the NASA site, download it, have a look. This is a very good one to do that with. Nice and clear. It's right in the center, lower center of the image. You can find it without any problems whatsoever. An easy one to find this if you want to have a look for yourself. But as with all my videos, I always put the link below in the description, and I always have it in the video as well for those people looking at the video on mobile devices. Don't be deterred. This stuff is not fake. A lot of the NASA images are being obfuscated by NASA. They are being blurred and pixelated out. A lot of these artifacts are being hidden, but I really do think they may be deliberately letting some of this stuff through. Either that, or they haven't actually found a lot of these things and never noticed them. A victim of their own incompetence, perhaps, who knows. But what you must bear in mind, in order to hide something, you must at first find it. That's very important to remember. So they may never have found many of these things, which is why they haven't been hidden and blurred out or blocked out or ghosted out or whatever. Now, I've just on the end of this video, I've tacked in a very short video I made last year about another sheep's head, and I've put this in purely for image comparison. There he is. Now, there's the rover there in the foreground, so there's no dispute whatsoever where this or what this photo is, where it was taken. I was ridiculed a hell of a lot for this when it came out at the time. It got badly disliked on YouTube. People thought it was some kind of joke or something, but maybe it was the style of the video. I don't know. May have offended people. I don't know. There do seem to be a lot of people out there that are very, very xenophobic when it comes to Mars. I know there are a lot of xenophobes on Earth. There's no doubt about that. But when it comes to Mars, they seem to get even more xenophobic. There really is something they're scared of here. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the over-familiarity of some of these specimens here. Who's to know? I mean, maybe some of the creatures on Earth were once from Mars. They could have been cross-pollinated in some way. Some of them could have been brought here. Who's to say? In the very distant past, some of our domestic animals could have well been brought from another planet. The Noah's Ark story may refer to a Martian guy that came here after a disaster on Mars. Who's to say? As always, keep an open mind and don't rule anything out. There are every type of creature on Mars. I've seen and found in many of my videos all sorts, including dinosaurs and mammals and reptiles and even fish fossils and birds, obviously. There's the image map for you again. Now, I advise you to take a clip of that and keep it on your desktop. Just take an image clip. I'm zoomed in a bit there, so you can actually get a decent clip of it. You can then, whilst looking at any NASA image, you can look at that and then compare it. And if you see anything that's either V-shaped, W-shaped, or M-shaped that doesn't correspond with these parts of the image, then you are actually looking at something else. You're actually looking at a UFO or some sort of other anomaly, perhaps even a bird. Who knows? It would be nice to get a close-up of one of these birds in flight. It's pretty unlikely. They only ever seem to show up about a mile away. For them to even show up at all is unusual, because obviously most of them are quite small and they just show up as a little speck in the sky. The ones to look for are the ones below the horizon, because they cannot be mistaken for Phobos or the moon or what other moon or anything else. Look for objects below the horizon, and you will find that they're all over the place. In fact, in a lot of the images, there are lots of these things appearing, often in groups, almost in flocks. So I have come to the conclusion over the last year or so that a lot of these must be birds. Either that, or there's some sort of strange aerial phenomena going on up there. They could be actual little craft. They could be probes. But why would you have a whole group of probes when we'd only need one? So I advise everybody to take a look again at some of these images and look at the backgrounds. Zoom in, enhance the contrast, enlarge it, get nice and close, and see some of these shapes, because they're not just image artifacts. Remember where those are and compare them, and you will find lots of these things. It's only a matter of time before someone finds a close-up or a more close-up image of a bird in silhouette. The this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Thank you for watching. I hope that wasn't too long for you. Thanks to all my subscribers, over 1,300 of you now. Great stuff. I will see you soon.